Salps are chordates like us and fish and everything else. They're tunicates, which basically means they're weird as fuck chordates that filter feed using water-filled sac-like structures called siphons, you know. They look like jellyfish and siphonophores, but since they're chordates, they're not really that closely related to them other than perhaps having some shared ancestry, much like us. Salps are found pretty much throughout the world in a variety of waters and temperature conditions, though they're most abundant in the cold waters near the Antarctic, forming enormous swarms in the deep ocean and competing with krill and whatnot. Salps have a complicated life cycle, alternating between colonial aggregates and solitary generations. Basically, the colonial generations bud from the solitary individuals, and these aggregates being hermaphroditic chains that mate with other chains, and then eventually produce new asexual solitary stages that, after roaming and eating, eventually bud off more cloned colonial generations. So it's complicated. Salps exhibit one of the fastest growth rates among multicellular organisms, having no larval stage and being basically ready to reproduce very shortly after birth. This is essentially their main survival mechanism. They outrace predators numerically speaking. When there's a lot of food present, say in a phytoplankton bloom, the salps bud off at incredible rates and generate tons and tons and tons of new salps, very quickly stripping the phytoplankton from the area. Sometimes to the point that the salps clog themselves to death and just crush themselves down onto the seafloor. Their rate of consumption and reproduction, as well as their overall abundance, is high enough that they're a pretty crucial part of the ocean's biological pump, as well as the ocean's carbon cycle. So salps are simultaneously a very simple animal and a very complicated one. This aspect of them is probably why they're so damn old and still around. Salps. 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 Salps.